clearly the CDC announcement was not
The
wanted.
CDC, you're hilarious. No, her voice was just perfect for that. Like the way she enunciated stuff, because she's a kid too. So like she really went in there. And when she said diarrhea, oh my gosh, she's like, you might get diarrhea. I loved it. I loved it. I need to hear her read all the Nana says.
Yeah, I want to do a live one at some point when we do our edited versions and everything. So first, your thoughts on the content, guys.
I didn't realize it was so short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was so short, but yeah, I think it's a good message, especially because some adults even don't know that. I saw an episode of Super Nanny, and they were letting a 2-year-old eat potato chips off the floor that fell.
I'm having a little garbling sound on your end.
Like
Speak.
what?
Okay, there you go. It's clear.
Oh no, I was just saying, I've seen adults, like sometimes even adults need that message, and they seem to be a little bit like passe about like letting small children eat things off the floor, like, oh, just blow it off. And it's like, yeah, let's not do that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good message. That just because you don't see dirt or germs doesn't mean it's safe to eat. Especially even in your house where you just may, somebody might walk with shoes from outside or something.
Right.
Or you have pets and your pet's feet are walking around.
Didn't even think about that one. Like, I don't think a lot of people thought about that. Anyone else? Okay, now seriously, who is still eating off the floor?
It depends. It depends on what it is. If it's like a dry cookie and it just fell real quick, and I pick it up and there's no dog hairs, I'm like, and I don't have an example to make. I'm not around a kid. Like I'm like, I'll brush it off. There are times when I throw it away. It's times when it depends. But something wet, I'm not, like an apple slice, garbage.
So there's a wet,
certain
dry
things I'm not,
rule, unspoken rule of wet and dry.
yeah, if it's something dry and it's I don't see it, just brush it off, whatever.
If you know it, say it. God made dirt, and dirt don't
God made
hurt.
dirt don't hurt. But there are times when it wasn't worth the risk. Sometimes you put jam on a piece of toast and the thing has to fall the jelly side down. You're like, oh, fud, in the garbage.
Because it's wet.
Yeah, and sticky. You be like, dang it, there's no saving it.
I mean,
But outside
yeah.
stuff outside.
No. I mean, they say if you are doing regular maintenance, like a weekly cleaning and mopping of your floors, it should be generally safe. But I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. I don't think I'm gonna even eat a dry cookie. If it's something I can rinse, like if I drop an uncut apple, yeah, I can rinse that.
I've done that. A grape or a blueberry or something, I just run it under the sink.
Yeah, but generally no. But yeah, like what you said about the kind of message people give to kids sometimes, like, yeah, it's okay. Even especially when they're like starting out chewing on solid objects. Of course, those things kind of fall around and they're covered in drool. So they're wet and they're picking up even more bacteria. I think even from then, it's very important to kind of establish that, okay, if it fell, yes, you were playing with it, it's yours, but it fell and it hit the floor. I have to take it away. I'm gonna give it back to you. Of course, you're taking it away to clean it. but you're not maybe establishing that habit yet because they don't understand. But definitely, I think you got to be mindful of it even then. Although they're still developing their immune system too, so it's okay, and you should clearly have them in a space where they can kind of, drop things, drool on the floor, get back up. That's should be kind of an unspoken rule when they're starting out trying
I
to nibble on
agree.
solid things anyway.
Yeah, you want to make sure they have an environment that's conducive to the fact that, yeah, food is
Yeah,
going to
that's going to
fall
be happening.
from.
Yeah. But it really makes me think too, with kids, because I know growing up I've seen kids eat things out in the street off the floor, and it
Ew.
made me wonder about the relationship with food. Now, thinking back
Mhm.
about that particular kid, I don't know what his home life was like, but the kinds of relationships we have with food, especially if you're hungry,
Yeah, that makes a lot.
um, yeah, that makes a big difference. And whether or not, you knew that that was a bad thing to do, if you're hungry, you're still gonna do it.
I mean, that's definitely played a factor in when I've decided to brush something off and eat it, or when I've decided to throw it away. Is it the last one? Do I have another one?
Angelique, you're hilarious, Angelique.
It's true. Like it is true. There's times when it's like, dang, I don't have another. I don't have another one. Like, darn, this is the last one.
Y'all, I don't know if y'all know this, but we have a storm here in South Carolina, and I lost power. I tried to log in on my cell phone. I've been trying to get in this conversation, but yeah, Angelique, you funny.
Oh, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't know. We
It's
saw you
okay.
come
No, no,
in the
no.
channel,
And
but
I could hear for a while, but I couldn't like do anything because my internet was trying to get back on, and I was on
Hmm.
the phone and whatever. Now that we're back to the conversation, I always look at children's books from a teaching perspective. How can I utilize this particular material in my classroom? And when I heard the book before, and I read the book before, and so I missed the live reading that you just did, but I thought about it from a teaching perspective. How could I implement this book in my actual real world classroom? And I saw a science experiment here. I saw a science experiment and how teachers could utilize the book effectively in their classrooms. And there has been a study done about how germs attach to different surfaces: soft surfaces, hard surfaces, hairy surfaces, just different things, right? And some eighth graders had done a study in our school based on how do germs grow on different surfaces. And then these eighth graders came up with this deduction that germs do hurt. They do hurt. Like God made dirt and don't hurt. Well, the bacteria had grown on every surface.
Ooh.
And so we think, oh, it's a hard surface, because I know if I drop something
you
and I'm
dry.
if I drop something and it's on a hard floor, just blow it off, wipe it off, wipe it off. And like Angelique was saying, especially if it's my last one, I'm like, I'm gonna eat this. Ain't nobody see that. But what they found was bacteria had grown on every surface. So of course they went through the scientific process, only creating one variable, and that was the surface, how much time they spent on the surface. So they dropped a piece of bread on each surface, then put it in a Ziploc bag and watched it over a week.
Wow.
So all the breads had something growing on them. They dropped it on the different surfaces. They left the bread on the surfaces for the same amount of time. Then they placed the surfaces in the same type of Ziploc bag, laid them on the same counter, and just observed the activity on the bread over the course of a 5 to 7 day period. Because you only can have one thing that's changing in the experiment. Well, lo and behold, bacteria grew on all the bread, on all of it. So the bread had enough contact on every surface where some type of bad germ was growing on that bread and it wasn't edible at all, no matter the surface. So this book brings out a whole lot of different I thought of a lot of different things after reading the book, but that is one way teachers could utilize it in the classroom to teach, why you don't eat things off the floor. Why did Nana say, don't do that? Because, I grew up in a community, don't do it because I said don't do it. That's it, period. I said don't do it. But, that experiment brought out the fact of why you're not doing it. Nana just said don't do it. And, most kids now are asking, well, why? Why? And then you can actually show them the bacteria that would cause the diarrhea that would make them sick.
That is awesome. Think about adding that to addition 2 for a classroom experiment. Thank you. Angelique, I think you were, or was it Latoya, about the hungry children, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Angelique mentioned it, and then I kind of supported what she said. But yeah, that does make a difference, though, and I think you elaborated on that too. It depends.
I mean, that's the reason why you sometimes see homeless people digging in trash cans.
Right.
That's true.
They literally they know you're not supposed to do that. They don't know who's mouthing on it, but they're so hungry. Like at that point, the risk becomes worth it.
Right.
Yes, that definitely makes me think about our relationship with food, and of course, in that situation, I'm hungry. That's a dire situation. Whereas you may not be, it may not be your last, but you still may take the chance. When it comes to that, how do you respond to a child that does want to take the chance because it's something they just really wanted, like ice cream, piece of candy? How do you respond to that child picking that thing up and putting it in their mouth or reaching for it?
Depends on the age. But I would hope an older child, like not a 3 or 4-year-old, would be able to tell me, and then like hopefully we can get another one. But I mean, again, it depends on like what the situation is, where we are. If they were running and it fell and I told them to sit down, it's like, you're not getting another one. But if it was like an honest accident, you licked it too hard or it wasn't secure and you licked your ice cream and it fell, like, yeah, I'll probably get you another one. But a younger kid, sometimes they respond more or like better to like like a sharper answer. So it'd be like, no, don't do that. And then maybe they cry and they get upset, they don't understand, but no, it depends.
I'm 50-50 with that. I get what you're saying. I'm more like more stern response. Especially if you already explained it to them, the dangers of eating off the floor. You've told them that before. I get you. Anyone else?
This book has brought up so many things. And, the fact that you guys have been talking about like homelessness and eating out of trash cans and stuff, it makes and how you brought up the relationship of our relationship with food. And because I work with children, it makes me think of the abundance we have here in America, but yet how so many kids experience scarcity. We have an abundance, a surplus of food, so much food that they throw it in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Throw it in the dumpster. And yet we have the issue of hunger where kids find no choice but to eat off the floor. And we do have those kids here in America and adults where we live in this nation of abundance so abundantly that we waste food daily, tons and tons and tons of food. So it kind of, as a teacher, you see and observe things And the culture says, don't eat that, right? We say that's nasty, it's germs on it, but you can quickly identify children who are probably starving in this environment based off of how they respond when something falls. Because if a child is having like a really dramatic response, only one of two things: either they really, really, really wanted it, or they know that it's such a scarcity in their environment that they will not get it again. So the book makes me think more deeply on how we teach, why we teach, and what do we do in response when kids don't learn. So what about that kid in the classroom, or that kid we see at the grocery store who is having a fit about this thing that is full of germs, but they're still willing to eat it? What is their why? Is their why because they're spoiled, or is their why because they are experiencing scarcity and they don't have food, adequate amounts of food in their environment? So yeah, the brings forth a lot of conversation if it's effectively used. And like I said, I look at books, especially children's books, how we can use this in a classroom. How can we use this in a classroom? How can we use this as educators to educate ourselves about what's going on in our communities and what's going on with our students?
I think what you mentioned about the bacteria, I think that sharing that with kids, making germs real to them, helps them make sense of why not to do it and why it's not worth it. Because I think sometimes they may make a choice to eat off the ground or find something that they like and start eating it without considering, those type of things. They might just do it because they want it, So I think making them aware of being sick and bacteria and all that, but just simply, that's just something that you don't do. I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of going back to just telling them this is something that you don't do.
That's really good, Latoya. I was also thinking that, like you were saying, Gloria, having that conversation when you see that, like as a child, the example that I gave earlier, that was not something I was thinking about then, but to have a conversation with the kid before they ate whatever they was eating off the floor, like, are you hungry? Like, are you okay? Um, can I, offer you something that's clean? Because that's not, I don't think something a lot of people think about. It's like, oh, they just nasty, like you said, or they're spoiled. I don't think the first thought, because we're in America, that's a thought that they may have, inadequate nutrition or amount of food at home. I mean, depending on the situation and where they are, but that does, create a space for a conversation with the child or with the parent, extend help.
I don't know why this is happening, but this saying is coming up in my mind. But did you die though? I don't know why that is coming up in my mind. But did you
That's
die?
so terrible. That's so anti against the message.
It's like it's a common saying that you hear when people try or engage in risky behavior and they survive it, right? And you survived it, and the question is, but did you die though? So when children see or know, I've eaten things off the ground before, I didn't die and I didn't get sick. I didn't die and I didn't get sick. So, and when you work with especially gifted children, they got a they got something to come back at everything. They got
Everything.
back. They like, well, I ate stuff off the floor before and I didn't die. I didn't get sick. I didn't throw up and I didn't get diarrhea. So that just goes back to education. Education. And then it also brings into question, some deeper conversations that might be appropriate for older kids about immunity, your immune system, and health, and making healthy choices that your body can fight off that. It's bacteria on it. Always bacteria on it. But why did your body respond this way and this person's body responded that way? And then, I mean, that gives you just, I see a lot of science, ELA writing prompts on this. I just see a lot. And yeah, the book is written to like a kindergartner or first grade level. However, I can see where this book could be utilized in a second, third, or fourth grade classroom, even to teach some really good scientific lessons and also to incorporate some writing in there too.
Hi, this is Sapphire. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey.
Great. I'm on my phone, so forgive me. I'm just trying something new, still be a part of. I know I got the tail end, so hope everyone is having a fabulous day. And I am just listening, and it's so funny because I'm going to talk about on a grandma side. My granddaughter is a year and 5 months. And you know, when they're young, everything, curiosity, the taste, and everything, right, ladies? So, you know, they're going to put everything in their mouth, right? But the funny thing is my granddaughter, she will suck up on a whole lemon. You like slice it, and I couldn't believe it, lemon and limes, and no face. She would just suck it up like it was a little orange and keep moving. And now she's picking up things. And first thing is the mouth. So we also need to consider too children who are curious even about the taste, our senses. You know, right now she really don't care what it tastes like. You know, she's the one that comes to you if you're eating, she will come and her mouth be like a little gubby fish, and will eat it. And for her to know what taste is like. So it's really, like I said, again, funny for that age that she has. Yes, is important about bacteria, because when we grew up, it was the worms, you know, in the system. And again, showing pictures of different things to help them understand what bacteria looks like is important. Because like you says, right now, if I would rather for my granddaughter, which I told my daughter, before she puts something in her mouth, you know how they come to you? They know you're not supposed to have it, but they're coming like, I said, well, try to get her used to showing you before she puts something in her mouth, you know? So, but it's interesting right now for her at her age, where she just, I guess, curious because of taste, what works for her and what doesn't work for her, because she's not a picky eater at all. Okay.
That's a very interesting thing to say, because it actually made me think of the fact that when I was a kid and I was old enough to know better, I definitely put things in my mouth that I shouldn't have. I didn't eat Play-Doh, but I definitely used to lick it because it tasted salty. And I mean, it is non-toxic, but even stuff like that. And there are kids who taste things or that aren't even food. Yeah.
That's very true. As a kid,
even chapstick, I ate a whole chapstick that I put in my stocking that was like chocolate, like scented and flavored. I ate it over the course of like a week.
I think a lot of kids did that, because even just putting it on, like you take, you know, one layer, lick it off, take another layer, lick it off.
Yep, that's how it started. And before I knew it, I was just eating the stick of chapstick. Even like plants and stuff outside, like that's how I found out that clover tastes like lemon.
It depends on the clover, because I fancy them as green apple.
Oh, I don't know. The ones that I ate always tasted
Lemony?
Like lemony. Yeah, and I like sour things. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it is very important to teach your kids from a young age what is safe and what is not safe to put in your mouth. But yeah, there is a curiosity factor to it too sometimes. Sometimes it's not even about you dropping something on the ground. Sometimes it's just like, that looks interesting. even like keeping small children away from pet food. Sometimes they see the animal eating it and they're like, oh, I wonder what that tastes
Yep.
like.
That was me as a kid. Yeah, I wonder what
Angelica's
that
had
tastes
me
like.
cracking up. I had to keep my microphone on mute, but she's
No, I'm being serious. I never had it, but I'm sure there's kids that do.
yeah. I mean, it made me think of another valid point. And another valid point. At a certain age, kids are very sensory. Very sensory. They're learning about the world around them. And that is why you have trusted adults in your life to guide you and steer you into what's safe and what's not safe. So makes sense at a certain age that they're putting everything in their mouth because they're learning about the world around them. But then as I'm listening to Angelique, I am dying laughing. I had to stay on mute because what she brought up for me too was sometimes our body will crave things when we lack certain nutrients in our diet.
That's
Oh,
That
true.
is
so
another thing that kids will put things in their mouths because their diet is deficient in some way. And the natural inclination of the body is to find that particular element somewhere around you to make up for that deficit.
They're talking about when kids eat like crayons or chalk or glue.
Like as you were speaking, I was thinking, yeah, those things are natural. And when I taught first grade, kids ate glue like it was candy. And that's why, manufacturers have made those things non-toxic because that's common. The Play-Doh, the crayons, all of those things, if you read the boxes, they are non-toxic. They're not to be consumed. They purposefully made them non-toxic because they know kids are curious and they're going to eat those things. But when we start watching kids that are a little bit older, that's another indication of like it could be another indication of uh, deficits in their diet because the body will seek out things in its environment to help compensate for what you're lacking in your diet. So eating certain things that are salty or taste like this or taste like that, we are still at the end of the day a part of the animal kingdom. And just like animals seek out food and nutrients for survival, we do the same thing. So kids that are eating weird things, there may be a deeper connection to that.
That's true.
Great insight. Dropping that in the second edition. Take a note, Angelique.
Oh, trust me, I am.
and I would crush ice, eat crushed ice, where it became like, why are you eating crushed ice, Bev? And I realized I was low in magnesium. Someone had shared that with me. Crushed ice, like if you do a snow cone.
Oh, I did not know that.
Miss
Oh,
Sapphire,
If
oh,
you
my bad.
supplemented, did that like subside for you? That want for the crushed ice after you started taking more magnesium?
well, the funny thing is someone had told me about it, and I said I put two and two together because you remember the old freezers where you used to have the snow on when you don't defrost and you had all of the snow on the tops and the sides,
I
and for some
remember that.
reason, yes, I would eat it, and I'm like saying, I know I wasn't pregnant with my daughter back then, but either my sister-in-law, someone says, Beverly, you may be lacking that. And sure enough, whatever was going on, I stopped completely. And it was because of magnesium. And I was like, okay, knowing your body, like we're talking about right now. Nutritions are very important because these are the things that our body needs, not what we want. It's what our body craves for.
And I want to piggyback on what Miss Sapphire was just saying because I'm an ice eater too. Well, I used to be an ice eater. And I'm talking about like I could not understand to the point where it would be freezing outside and I'm shivering and people are like, "Well, why are you eating ice if you cold?" And it was like my body just naturally craved ice. And when I would go to fast food restaurants, I'm like a lot of ice, a little bit of drink, which is the opposite of what most people would do. Then I went and got some workups with my doctor, did some blood work, and I found out that I was extremely iron deficient.
Wow.
I had major iron deficiency. So currently, this is 2021, I started taking a very soft supplemental iron, because if you take too much iron, that does something else to your body. But if you don't
That's right.
have enough iron, which I did not, it was causing me to eat the ice, eat the ice, eat the ice. So when I got the blood work done, magnesium was low too, Miss Sapphire. My magnesium was low, but
Mm.
extremely deficient. So I started taking the iron supplement. And guess what? I don't want ice anymore. I don't want the ice anymore. So it is an indication of what is deficient in your body, because the body will heal it. The body will do everything to heal itself. It will keep telling you, giving you messages. Hey, this is what's wrong with me. And if we pay attention, and that's what I'm saying, if you pay attention to kids, the kid might not be able to verbally tell you, but their actions are telling you without their mouth telling you. Just like you're eating ice, I'm eating ice. Our body was telling us, hey, something is missing here. And I was magnesium deficient and extremely iron deficient. And it was all cured with an iron tablet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a little harder look at some of my cravings now. Hmm. But I do yearly blood work, so I try to keep on top of stuff like that. Which I recommend to everyone if you can. Just getting like even just a screening for your vitamin levels, because that can make a huge difference. Especially in our culture, where a lot of people are, like you said, deficient in magnesium as well as vitamin D and a couple of the B vitamins and zinc. Also depends on your lifestyle and eating habits, of course. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. If no one has any other comments, this has been a great discussion. Please share, like, and subscribe to the children's book adult discussion podcast on YouTube. And I hope to see you. I'm going to see next month. This is going to be it for July. We have a few updates coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned. Again, thank you all. Bye.
Bye.